The massive diplomatic ship Earth's Hope moved slowly through space, its white hull gleaming under the light of distant stars. Inside the ship's main room, Ambassador Park Ji-ho stood by the window, looking at the approaching planet. The capital world of the Galactic Empire, Nexus Prime, was a sight that few humans had ever seen up close. "Ambassador, we will land in 30 minutes, said Lee Mira, walking into the room with a data pad in her hands. She was Park's assistant for the past 5 years, and she knew him well enough to see that he was worried. Park turned away from the window. "How do the Imperial Guards seem today, Mira? Any signs of trouble?" Mira frowned. She had been watching the Imperial ships that surrounded them since they entered Empire space. "The guards are acting strange, sir. They changed their patrol pattern 3 times in the last hour. That's not normal." Park nodded slowly. He was Earth's best diplomat, chosen for this important mission because of his calm nature and smart thinking. But even he felt that something was wrong. The Empire had never liked humans. They saw Earth as too young, too small, and too weak to matter. "Sir," Mira said, checking her data pad again, "the Empire's trade ships have been entering human space more often. In the last month alone, we recorded 30 violations." "That's why we're here," Park replied, straightening his dark blue uniform. "The Empire needs to understand that Earth is not weak. We are ready to trade and work together, but we must be treated with respect." The ship began its landing sequence. Through the window, they could see the Imperial Palace rising above the city. It was a huge building made of black metal and crystal, showing off the Empire's power and wealth. As they prepared to leave the ship, Park noticed more Imperial guards gathering at the landing pad. There were too many of them for a normal diplomatic welcome. "Mira," he said quietly, "keep the ship's recording systems running, all of them, and stay alert." Mira understood. She had worked in diplomacy long enough to know when things didn't feel right. She activated her small personal recorder and made sure it was hidden well. The ship's doors opened, letting in the hot air of Nexus Prime. Park led the way, walking with confidence despite his concerns. The Imperial Guards formed 2 lines, their armor shining under the planet's 3 suns. At the end of the line stood Commander Kim Do-hyun, one of the few humans who served in the Empire's military. His face showed no emotion as Park approached, but his eyes carried a warning. "Ambassador Park," Kim said formally, "Emperor Calix welcomes you to Nexus Prime. Please follow me to the palace." As they walked, Mira noticed more guards joining them from side paths. They were being surrounded, but in a way that looked natural to anyone watching from far away. Park saw it too. He had been in many dangerous situations before, but this felt different. The Empire was planning something, and he needed to find out what it was before it was too late. Inside the palace, the air felt heavy with tension. Other alien diplomats watched them pass, some with pity in their eyes. They knew something that the humans didn't. Park Ji-ho kept walking, his head held high. He was here to protect Earth's interests, and he would do his duty no matter what. But as they approached the grand meeting hall, even he couldn't ignore the feeling that this diplomatic mission was about to become something much more dangerous. Mira touched the recorder hidden in her jacket, making sure it was still working. Whatever happened next, Earth needed to know the truth. The future of human-empire relations, and maybe the future of humanity itself, would depend on what happened in the next few hours. The grand dining hall of the Imperial Palace sparkled with light from 1,000 crystal lamps. Ambassador Park Ji-ho sat at the long table, facing Emperor Calix across plates of exotic foods. The emperor was tall, with gray skin that seemed to shine like metal, and eyes that glowed with a deep purple light. Lee Mira stood behind Park's chair, as was proper for an assistant. She watched the Imperial Guards closely, counting 12 of them around the room. Commander Kim Do-hyun stood near the emperor, his human face standing out among the alien officials. "Ambassador Park," Emperor Calix said, his voice deep and cold, "you requested this meeting to discuss trade matters. Please speak. Park nodded and took out a small device. With a gentle touch, it projected images above the table. Your Majesty, these are recordings of Imperial trade ships in human space. We counted 30 violations in the past month alone. The Emperor's purple eyes narrowed. You dare to accuse the Empire of wrongdoing. We seek only to protect our legal rights, Park said calmly. The treaty we signed 3 years ago clearly states the boundaries. Commander Kim watched silently, his hands tight behind his back. He had served the Empire for 10 years, but now he felt shame burning in his chest. His own people were being treated like children. Perhaps, the Emperor said, picking up a crystal glass, humans do not understand their place in the galaxy. You are young, primitive. You should be grateful we allow you to exist at all. Mayra saw Park's shoulders tighten, but his voice stayed steady. With respect, Your Majesty, humanity has earned its place. We ask only that the Empire honors its agreements. The Emperor stood suddenly, his chair scraping against the floor. Agreements? You think your paper treaties bind the Empire? He threw his glass down, shattering it. I have ruled 1,000 worlds for 300 years. I will not be lectured by a species that barely learned to leave their planet. Park rose slowly. Then you leave us no choice but to file a formal complaint with the Galactic Council. The room went silent. Even the air seemed to stop moving. Commander Kim took one step forward, seeing what was about to happen. Guards, the Emperor's voice was quiet now, dangerous. Arrest the human ambassador. He has insulted the Empire. No, Mira shouted as guards moved forward. She reached for Park, but more guards blocked her way. Park stood his ground. This is a violation of diplomatic law. Think carefully about what you're doing, Your Majesty. The Emperor walked around the table, his gray face now dark with anger. I have thought about this for a long time, Ambassador. Humanity needs to learn its lesson. Commander Kim saw the Emperor's hand move. Your Majesty, don't. But it was too late. The Emperor pulled out a small weapon, hidden in his robes. There was a flash of blue light, and Ambassador Park fell. Park, Mira screamed, fighting against the guards holding her. Her hidden recorder captured everything. Commander Kim moved without thinking, grabbing Myra's arm. This way, he shouted, pulling her toward a side door. His military code still worked, opening the door as guards rushed after them. You can't hide. The Emperor's voice boomed through the hall. The Empire will show humanity its true place. Mayra ran with Kim, tears in her eyes, but her mind clear. She had to get back to the ship, had to get the recording to Earth. Park Jae-ho was dead, murdered by the Emperor himself, and the galaxy was about to change forever. Behind them, alarms began to sound through the Imperial Palace. The guards were mobilizing. The hunt was starting, but they didn't know humans very well if they thought this would end here. Mira touched her recorder as she ran. Soon, all of Earth would know what happened here. And then, the real war would begin. Lead Mira and Commander Kim Do-hyun raced through the dark lower levels of the Imperial Palace. Their footsteps echoed off the metal walls as alarm sirens continued to wail above them. This way, Kim said, leading them down another corridor. These maintenance tunnels connect to the city's underground network. The guards rarely come here. Mayra followed, her hand touching the recorder in her pocket. Why are you helping me? She asked between breaths. You serve the Empire. Kim's face showed pain in the dim light. I'm human first. What the Emperor did, it was wrong. It was murder. They stopped at a junction of tunnels. The sound of boots on metal came from somewhere above. The Imperial guards were spreading through the palace. We need to get this recording to Earth, Mira said, but they'll be watching all communication channels, and our ship is surely under guard now. Kim nodded. There's someone who can help, a member of the underground resistance. Her name is Han Ji-won. She helps people the Empire wants to silence. Can we trust her? She's helped other humans before. Her communication system uses old technology that the Empire ignores. They think it's too primitive to be a threat. They moved through the tunnels for what felt like hours. Finally, they reached a hidden door that led to the lower city. Here, far from the gleaming towers above, the buildings were old and crowded together. Kim led them to a small shop with a sign written in many languages. Inside, a woman with short black hair looked up from a computer screen. Ji-won, Kim said quickly. We need help. Han Ji-won's eyes moved from Kim to Mira, understanding the situation immediately. The alarms. They're looking for you. Mira stepped forward. I have a recording. The Emperor murdered our ambassador. Earth needs to know. Ji-won's face became serious. She pressed a button under her desk, and metal shutters covered the windows. Show me. Myra placed her recorder on the desk. The hologram appeared, showing the dinner, the argument, and the terrible moment when the Emperor killed Park Ji-ho. This will start a war, Ji-won said quietly. The Emperor wants war, Kim replied. He thinks humans are weak. He wants to teach us a lesson. Ji-won turned to her computer, typing quickly. I can send this through the old communication networks. The Empire doesn't watch them because they think only poor merchants use them to sell cheap goods. Suddenly, they heard heavy vehicles moving on the street outside. Imperial patrol ships. They're searching the lower city, Kim said, looking through a crack in the shutters. We don't have much time. Ji-won worked faster. The recording is large. It will take a few minutes to send. Myra paced the small room. Everything depended on this recording reaching Earth. Without it, the Empire could claim Park had attacked them, that they had acted in defense. The sound of patrol ships grew closer. Ji-won's computer showed the transmission progress. 70%, 75%, 80%. They're landing outside, Kim whispered. 90%, 95%. Footsteps approached the shop. Heavy boots on metal walkways. Done, Ji-won said. The recording is sent. Earth will know everything. Myra felt tears in her eyes again, but this time they were tears of relief. Thank you, she said to both Ji-won and Kim. Earth won't forget what you did. The door of the shop burst open. Imperial guards filled the entrance, weapons raised. But Myra smiled. They were too late. The truth was already traveling through space, racing toward Earth at the speed of light. Soon, humanity would know what happened to their ambassador. And then, the Empire would learn what it meant to make humanity angry. Director Choi Yun-soo sat at the head of the large table in Earth's Security Council chamber. The room was silent as the recording played, showing Ambassador Park's final moments. When it ended, no one spoke for several long seconds. The recording has been verified, Choi said, her voice steady despite her anger. It came through old merchant channels. Our analysts confirm it is real. Around the table, representatives from every major nation on Earth watched the screens in front of them. For the first time in history, leaders from all countries sat together in one room, united by their shock and rage. The Empire believes we are weak, Choi continued. They think we will accept this insult, this murder. She stood up, looking at each person in turn. They are wrong. The American representative spoke first. All our ships are ready. We only wait for the order. China's fleet stands with Earth, said another representative. Our differences no longer matter. One by one, every nation pledged their support. Centuries of human conflict were set aside in the face of this greater threat. Choi pressed a button, and a new image appeared above the table. It showed Admiral Song Tae-woo, commander of the largest space fleet on Earth. He stood on his ship's bridge, waiting for their decision. Admiral Song, Choi said, the Council has reached its decision. You will lead our combined forces. Every ship, every soldier, from every nation, is now under your command. Song's face was serious as he nodded. We are ready, Director. The fleet has gathered behind Mars. The Empire cannot detect us there. How many ships? Asked the Russian representative. 5,000 combat ships, Song replied, plus 2,000 support vessels. We've been preparing in secret for years, knowing this day might come. Choi looked at the council members again. This will mean war. Not a small conflict, but total war. The Empire rules 1,000 worlds. They have technology we can only dream of. If we do this, we must be ready to fight until the end. They killed our ambassador, said the Indian representative. They broke the peace. Now they must learn that humanity is not weak. Choi stood straighter. Then let us vote. All in favor of declaring total war against the Galactic Empire, raise your hands. Every hand in the room went up. There was no hesitation, no debate. For the first time since humans first looked up at the stars, all of Earth stood as one. Admiral Song, Choi said, turning back to the screen. You have your orders. Show the Empire what happens when they threaten humanity. Yes, Director. Song's image vanished as he went to prepare his fleet. Choi looked out the window at the bright afternoon sky. Somewhere up there, the Empire thought they had taught humanity a lesson. They thought they had shown their power by killing one man. Instead, they had awakened something they didn't understand. Humans had fought each other for thousands of years. They knew war better than any species in the galaxy. And now, for the first time, all that knowledge, all that power, would be turned against a common enemy. Send the message to all Earth colonies, Choi ordered. Tell them what happened. Tell them we go to war. And tell them that this time, we fight as one people, one planet, one human race. The Empire had wanted to show humanity its place in the galaxy. Now they would learn what happens when humans unite. The stars themselves would remember this war. Commander Kim Do-hyun stood on the bridge of the Earth battleship Thunder, looking at the tactical display. After escaping from the Empire with Mira, he had brought valuable information to Admiral Song's fleet. Now he would help humanity strike back. The Empire's shipyards at Nexus Beta are their largest military facility, Kim explained to Admiral Song. They think their detection systems are perfect. But they have a weakness. Admiral Song studied the plans carefully. Show me. Kim pointed to a section of the display. Their sensors look for engine heat and energy signatures, but they never look for ships that are completely cold. Song smiled. Earth scientists had developed special ships that could drift through space without power. They called them ghost ships. Now 50 of these ships were floating silently toward the Imperial shipyards, carrying Earth's most powerful weapons. How long until they reached the target? Song asked. 2 hours, Kim replied. The Empire won't see them until it's too late. On one of the ghost ships, Captain Park Min-ji watched her crew work in the dim emergency lights. Everything was cold and dark. They wore special suits to keep warm. The ship moved only with the momentum they had gained 3 days ago. Status report, Min-ji whispered into her radio. Even radio signals were kept to absolute minimum. All weapons ready, came the quiet reply. Target is growing larger. We're on perfect course. Min-ji looked through the viewing window. The Imperial shipyards were huge, stretching for kilometers through space. Hundreds of warships were under construction. The Empire thought they were safe here, protected by their advanced technology. They were wrong. As the ghost ships drifted closer, Imperial patrol ships passed nearby, but their sensors showed nothing. To them, the ghost ships were just pieces of space debris. All ships, Admiral Song's voice came through the secure channel. Prepare to attack. Remember, we only have one chance. Make it count. Min-ji checked the time. 10 minutes until they reached firing position. She thought about Ambassador Park, murdered by the Emperor. This was humanity's answer. 5 minutes, her tactical officer reported. The Imperial shipyards grew larger in the window. Min-ji could see workers moving between the ships, Imperial flags flying proudly on every station. 2 minutes. She took a deep breath. Power up all systems. Weapons online. Suddenly, 50 ghost ships came to life. Lights blazed, engines roared, and weapon systems activated. Before the Imperial guards could even sound an alarm, the attack began. Earth's ships fired everything they had. Special bombs designed to disable shields. Missiles that could think and chase their targets. Beams that cut through the strongest armor. The Imperial shipyards erupted in explosions. Unfinished warships broke apart. Construction platforms collapsed. Defense systems tried to respond, but they were too slow, too confused by the sudden attack from nowhere. Second wave, launch. Admiral Song ordered. From behind nearby asteroids, 200 more Earth ships appeared. They had been hiding there for days, waiting for this moment. Now they joined the attack, turning the Imperial pride into burning wreckage. In his command center, Admiral Song watched the Imperial ships try to fight back. But they were too late. The damage was done. Send the message, he ordered. Across all frequencies and every language the Empire used, humanity's message played. This is what happens when you murder our diplomats. This is only the beginning. The Empire had thought humans were primitive and weak. Now they would learn the truth. Humanity didn't just fight wars. They mastered them. And this war was just starting. The Empire's response to the destruction of their shipyards was swift and brutal. 1,000 warships jumped into human space, ready to crush Earth's colonies. Emperor Calix himself led the attack from his flagship. But when they reached the first human colony, New Seoul, they found something unexpected. Captain Park Min-ji stood in the colony's underground command center, watching the Imperial ships appear on her screens. She had transformed New Seoul from a peaceful mining colony into a fortress. The surface buildings stood empty, but below ground, the colony was alive with activity. They're moving into attack position, her sensor officer reported. 500 ships approaching the main settlement. Min-ji nodded calmly. Let them come closer. Wait for my signal. The Imperial ships moved forward confidently. Their scans showed no defense fleet, no major weapons. To them, the colony looked helpless. Emperor Calix watched from his command throne. Begin the bombardment. Show these humans the price of defiance. The Imperial ships opened fire. Their weapons struck the colony's buildings, turning them to ash. But something was wrong. There were no screams, no panic, no fleeing civilians. Your Majesty, an officer said, we detect no life signs in the buildings. Suddenly, Min-ji's voice broadcast across all channels. Welcome to New Seoul, Your Majesty. We've been expecting you. The ground beneath the destroyed buildings opened. Hidden missile silos activated. Hundreds of automated defense platforms rose from underground bunkers. The entire colony was a trap. Fire, Min-ji ordered. The Imperial fleet found itself caught in a web of crossfire. Special missiles designed by Earth's best scientists homed in on their engines. Energy beams cut through their shields using frequencies the Empire had never seen before. Impossible, Calix shouted as his ships began exploding. These are just colonists. But Min-ji had studied Imperial tactics for years. She knew they always attacked in the same way, always followed the same patterns. Humanity had prepared for this. Second phase, she commanded. Release the drones. Thousands of small automated ships launched from hidden bays. They were too small for Imperial weapons to target effectively, but each carried enough explosives to cripple a warship. The Emperor watched in horror as his perfectly ordered fleet fell into chaos. His ships tried to retreat, but the drones followed them, exploding against their hulls. Your Majesty, his admiral said, we've lost 200 ships. We must withdraw. Calix stood from his throne, his gray face dark with rage. No, I will not be defeated by primitives. But it was too late. The Imperial fleet was scattered, their formation broken. More ships exploded as Min-ji's defenses continued their relentless attack. Finally, Calix gave the order to retreat. The surviving Imperial ships jumped away, leaving the wreckage of their fleet behind. In her command center, Minji sent a message to Earth Command. New Seoul stands. The Empire's attack has failed. Their losses are heavy. The Empire had expected to find helpless colonies. Instead, they found that humans had turned every settlement into a fortress, every mining station into a weapons platform. This was how humanity fought, not with honor or tradition, but with cunning and determination. The Emperor had learned an important lesson. Humans didn't fight like other species. They didn't follow rules or traditions. They fought to win, no matter what it took. And this was only the beginning of their surprises. Admiral Song Ta-Wu stood at the command center of Earth's largest space station. Around him, holographic displays showed thousands of small dots moving in perfect coordination. These were humanity's newest weapons, quantum-linked fighter ships. All squadrons report ready, his communications officer announced. The quantum network is stable. Song nodded. These ships were different from anything the Empire had seen before. When one pilot thought of a move, all ships in their squadron would move the same way, faster than any enemy could react. Lee Mura, now working as Earth's chief intelligence officer, entered the command center. Admiral, I have the information we need. Our spies found the Empire's main shield generator. It's on their moon base, near the capital. Song studied the base plans Mira brought. If we destroy this, their capital world will be defenseless. Yes, but getting there won't be easy. They've doubled their defenses since our last attack. Song smiled. They're defending against the wrong things. Begin Operation Vengeance. Across human space, ships began to move. But these weren't normal military ships. Earth had converted passenger liners, cargo ships, and mining vessels into weapons. The Empire's sensors would see them as civilian traffic. Commander Kim Do-hyun led the first wave. His ships looked like regular transport vessels, but inside they carried the quantum-linked fighters. As they approached Empire space, no one stopped them. They were too small to be threatening. All ships, prepare for launch, Kim ordered. Remember your training. The cargo ships opened, releasing clouds of fighters. Each squadron was connected through quantum technology, letting them move and think as one. Thousands of pilots, linked together, became a single unstoppable force. The Empire's defense fleet noticed too late. By the time their alarms sounded, the quantum fighters were everywhere. They moved in perfect patterns, impossible to predict or counter. The enemy is in chaos, Kim reported to Admiral Song. Their formations are breaking. Song watched the battle unfold. The Empire's ships tried to fight back, but they couldn't match the speed and coordination of the quantum-linked squadrons. Their careful battle plans fell apart against an enemy that fought like a single mind with thousands of bodies. Second phase, Song ordered. Target their shield generator. Myra's intelligence was perfect. The shield generator was exactly where she said it would be. Special forces teams, hidden among the fighter squadrons, broke through the moon base's defenses. The Empire had never seen anything like this. Their mighty fleets were being defeated by ships they had dismissed as too small to matter. Their perfect defenses were falling to enemies they couldn't even track properly. Inside the moon base, Earth's special forces planted their bombs. The shield generator was huge, powered by technology the Empire had developed over centuries. Charges set, the team leader reported. Detonation in 3 minutes. The quantum fighters pulled back, drawing the Empire's ships away from the moon. When the bombs exploded, the shield generator disappeared in a flash of light. The Empire's capital world lay exposed. Admiral Song sent a message to all ships. The shield is down. Begin the final attack. For Earth, for Ambassador Park. Humanity's full fleet jumped into view, surrounding the capital world. The Empire was about to learn the final lesson. Never underestimate humans who fight together. The final battle for Nexus Prime began as Earth's unified fleet surrounded the Imperial capital world. Emperor Galactic stood in his palace, watching through giant windows as thousands of human ships filled the sky. Without their planetary shields, The Empire's capital lay exposed. Impossible, Calix whispered, his gray face pale with shock. How could primitives do this? Admiral Song's voice broadcast across all channels. Emperor Calix, your shield is down. Your fleet is scattered. Surrender now, and we will show mercy. In the command ship, Song stood with Li Mira and Commander Kim Do-hyun. They watched as Imperial ships tried to form a defensive line around the palace, but their movements were slow, confused. Without their usual advantages, they didn't know how to fight. Their entire system is breaking down, Kim reported. They've never faced defeat before. They don't know what to do. The quantum-linked fighters moved in perfect formation, cutting through the Imperial defenses like they weren't even there. Earth's main ships followed, their weapons targeted on the palace itself. Emperor Calix's voice finally responded, filled with anger and disbelief. You cannot defeat the Empire. We have ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. The galaxy changes, Song replied. You killed our ambassador because you thought we were weak. That was your mistake. Humans are not weak. We are survivors. On every ship in the human fleet, crews watched their displays as the battle unfolded. This wasn't just about winning anymore. This was about showing the galaxy that humanity deserved respect. The Imperial Palace's defenses activated, firing at the human ships. But Earth had studied their weapons, learned their patterns. Every shot was dodged or blocked. The Empire's technology, once thought unbeatable, now seemed old and slow. Final warning, Song announced. Surrender, or we will take the palace by force. In the palace, Calix's advisors begged him to give up. They could see what he couldn't. The Empire had already lost, but the Emperor's pride wouldn't let him accept defeat. Launch everything we have, Calix ordered. Fight to the last ship. Song shook his head sadly. All ships execute final attack pattern. Disable their weapons but minimize casualties. Let's show them true strength includes mercy. The quantum fighters struck first, their coordinated attacks shutting down the palace's weapon systems. Earth's main fleet followed, using precise shots to disable rather than destroy the remaining Imperial ships. In less than an hour, it was over. Imperial soldiers laid down their weapons. The palace defenses went silent, and Emperor Calix, ruler of 1,000 worlds, walked out of his palace as a prisoner. Li Mira stepped forward to meet him, carrying the same recorder that had captured Ambassador Park's murder. The galaxy will know everything, she said. How you killed a man of peace, how your pride brought down an empire. The news spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. The mighty empire had fallen to the very species they had dismissed as primitive. Humanity had not just won a war, they had changed the balance of power among the stars. In the days that followed, Admiral Song established a new council to govern the former imperial worlds. But this council would be different. All species would have a voice, even the youngest ones. The age of empire was over. The age of cooperation had begun. And on Earth, in a quiet garden, they built a memorial to Ambassador Park Ji-ho. His death had sparked a war, but his legacy would be peace. Humanity had proven itself among the stars, not just through strength, but through unity, intelligence, and in the end, mercy. The galaxy would never be the same.